back in the garage for another edition of TK Live. It is Wednesday, August the 10th, and I'm joined by my brother Matt and my dad Howard, and we're here to tell you about, well, all things truck. We like to get out here in the garage every other week. We like to cover the latest in pickup truck news. We like to talk about what's going on with us and on the channel. And then maybe most importantly, we like to answer your questions. So you know what, if you guys are out there listening and watching, jump in the chat, throw in whatever question you want, whether it's related to what we're talking about or not, and we'll be happy to answer it. And you know what, the other way you can get in touch with us is reach out in email. You can get us at hey, that's H-E-Y, @trucking.ca. Email us anytime, and yeah, Dad will probably respond to you because he's the best at responding to emails.
I'm the one that actually still reads and writes. A real writer over here, not a couple of video kids.
The responsible one. So yeah, why don't we jump into the news, guys? We have two, what I would consider to be pretty big truck news stories. The first one is huge. The brand new 2023 Chevrolet Colorado. The Chevy Colorado is all new from the ground up. It's been, what, 7 years coming? 2015 was the last truck. And now we have a brand new Colorado. And I will throw up an image of it for you guys right here. Oh, that's the interior, which, I mean, that's one heck of an interior upgrade compared to what we have today.
Yeah, look at the size of that screen.
Yeah, it's nice looking. There it is. So that truck you're looking at right there is the ZR2, the off-road truck. So let's go ahead and talk about the Colorado, shall we? I think the big kind of headline here is there's only one engine now. The Colorado has dumped the diesel, it's dumped the V6, and now you can only get a 2.7 liter inline 4 turbocharged engine. So you know what, let's just, before I even get into more numbers, let's just respond to that right away. Dad, what's your feelings on Chevy dumping the diesel, dumping the V6, going small i4 turbo only in the Colorado?
I'm a diesel fan. I was really pumped when they brought the diesel out. I thought it had fairly decent take rate. But you know what? They don't share those numbers with us, and obviously I have to be wrong because these are business people. I mean, if everybody wants it, they'd keep selling it. So these things are only going away for you know, one of two reasons. One is that people aren't buying them, or it just doesn't fit in with whatever they've got to do for emissions, government standards that are coming. So anyway, see you later.
I think there was also something to be said for production simplicity, if you want to say that, of, you know, everyone's been running into production snags these days, so if we're only building one engine rather than three, it's a little easier to manage. I feel like that was in the back of their minds too.
The diesel going away, I think, was the biggest shock in that announcement for myself, and especially, it was a great little engine. I really liked it. And beyond that, from a repair standpoint, they were fairly bulletproof. I didn't hear a lot of anything about that thing blowing up for no reason.
Yeah.
Unlike other little baby diesels. So.
Yeah. No, I'm sad about it too. But anyways, let's get to the numbers because they're not bad. You can't complain about these. Now, there's three different outputs on this 2.7 turbo. So the base work truck and the LT is going to have 237 horsepower, 259 pound-feet of torque. Bump up to the Z71 or the Trail Boss, and you're going to get 310 horsepower, 390 pound-feet of torque. And then finally on the ZR2, the turbo high output model, you're getting 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque. Those are competitive numbers. I mean, they're right there with everything that Ford is doing and that new Nissan Frontier is doing, plus all that torque. So I think that the power numbers sound good. It's still hooked up to an 8-speed automatic. Chevy says it's just a retuned 8-speed. It's basically what they have today. Maximum towing on the Colorado, 7,700 pounds. Again, another nice number, but let's get to what I think is another controversial decision, and I'll get you guys to respond. Colorado is now available as crew cab only. You can only get a crew cab, and you can only get a short bed, and that's a 5'2" bed. And as you know, Dad and I have trucks with 8-foot beds. Right away, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like the person who wants the work-focused option should be able to get it, and they are simplifying that lineup, but have they gone too far? Any feelings on it?
I think what you said earlier is playing into that. Simplifying the line. Less options, makes for a better assembly line, quicker. And hell, right now, when you're ordering a truck and it's taking you a year to get it, maybe this is the answer. Maybe right now this is the answer to get it back to the sort of acceptable 60 to 90 days, which is what we've had for years and years. I mean, right now to order something and then waiting more than a year, it's just not right.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But yeah, just as a customer, and you know what? This is a question I haven't heard anyone ask, and we will ask it when we get the chance. What about the fleet buyer? What about the fleets who go, we only have 1 or 2 people in the trucks, we truly don't care about the back seat, I want 6.5-foot beds, and I just feel like that's going to happen. So we'll see if there's pushback, and then more importantly, maybe we'll see if everybody else does this as well, or if this is just a GM thing and other people kind of think it's a mistake, right? Anyway, so yeah, that's another interesting decision. What do we have next? Let's just quickly run over the trim walk. So you're still getting a work truck, then the LT, then the Z71, then the Trail Boss. This is new for Colorado. Trail Boss, you get a 2-inch lift and a wider stance. So a couple nice little upgrades there. But of course, the real off-road truck here is the ZR2. And this thing looks like a monster. The ZR2 gets a 3-inch lift. It gets lockers in the front and the rear. It's going to go ahead and get bumpers and aluminum skid plates. So, I mean, this thing, yeah, like I said, it looks really cool. That's not the ZR2 yet.
We got a couple of guys.
Got to pick up some volume here.
Yeah, a couple of guys are saying they can't hear us.
Anybody having trouble hearing us out there?
Yeah, there's a couple of people have said so. Mark and Benny B said that we're a little too quiet.
Volume is really low.
Okay.
Yep, I'm working on it here.
We're fixing it.
All right, hang tight. We're gonna make this happen right now.
Yeah, it's gonna pop right here. Hopefully not too loud on your ears. All right, that should help you guys right there.
How's that sound? Everybody sounding better?
Okay, give us some feedback. Our levels should have picked up.
Something changed midstream because we didn't get complaints right off the hop.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, well,
we're still
what
figuring
can we say?
out.
Yeah.
Sound fine.
Okay,
Volume
so now
low. Yeah, getting mixed reviews.
Okay, so it all depends on when you checked in. I see we're now peaking, so we should be okay.
Better, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we're rolling with everybody can hear us.
Okay, we're gonna be loud.
All right, back to Colorado.
Yeah, good news, fellas. There we go. So as we were just saying, the truck you are currently looking at right now on your screen is the ZR2. This thing's getting a 3-inch lift. It's getting lockers in the front and the rear. It's getting unique bumpers, so you're getting better approach and departure. A full aluminum skid plate package. Of course, it's getting those Multimatic DSSV dampers. The ZR2 is already a name that's really established itself. This truck looks awesome. I'm excited for it. Personally, I think mid-size off-road trucks are the best off-road trucks because they're the right size for off-roading. And this thing looks awesome. Now, there is one other model I'll show you really quickly. Right there, you get a nice little LT. There you get the Trail Boss. There you get the work truck. Just running through all the models here. There you get the nice Z71. And finally, here's the epic off-road model. This is the ZR2 Desert Boss. This is another new model they've added. It's a ZR2 with a whole bunch of cool accessories on it. You're getting unique 33-inch tires, a unique fascia, a camera underneath the truck. Yes, a camera that's looking down at the trail. You're getting the light bar up there. You're getting unique badging, unique decals, a sport bar up front. So, yeah, this thing looks, once again, I think pretty cool. And yeah, I'll just stop right there and go back to a camera underneath the truck. I mean, I think that's wild, and I think it was almost inevitable.
Well, and I think it's good to have it because if you smash it, then you've gone too far. It's an early warning system. Oh, broke the camera. Yeah. Shouldn't have done that.
I mean, it's the simplest way versus, say, like the Toyota system we were playing with, that films the ground and then transposes that image into the system so you know what's underneath you.
Yeah. That was a lot of engineering, and a simpler answer is just put a camera down
Just
there.
put a camera, but is that simple answer also that camera? I mean, forget physical contact. you got salt. I mean, let's talk Canada. You got salt, you got spray, you got mud.
Oh, yeah.
So you're, 1, 2 years, 2 winters in. Now all of a sudden you go to, use that camera and it's just a black screen. So what was the point of it to begin with?
Well, I guess we'll wait and see. And then that's good business for you, because guys will be coming to the dealer going, my camera doesn't work.
Warranty doesn't pay that well.
But there's already 10 cameras on these trucks, right? So that's what I meant by inevitable. They sit around and go, well, we need more cameras. Where can we put them? Underneath. Why not, right?
Sure.
So another thing that they've done, they've upgraded the beds on these models as well. And again, they really took after the half tons. So one of my favorite things in the Silverado and Sierra is all the tie downs. Those trucks have 3 tie downs in every single corner. And I love that you get the different heights, and they've replicated that here in the Midsizers. Now you only get 2 tie downs in each corner, but still you're getting 8 tie downs in total, plus there's like 9 accessory spots for tie downs, and they've got the cutouts into the bed walls so you can build with lumber, a unique little splitter system and a deck system, and I just think it's a clever bed, and more tie downs is always good. So you can't complain about it getting more tie downs, right? And then the real party trick is the little cooler, lockable cooler that's in the tailgate.
In the tailgate.
Yeah, again, I don't know if it's the smartest idea, but it's something that's
GM's had a
cute.
couple of these, right? Like the speakers built into the tailgate and stuff. There's been a couple of these kitschy little features that somebody's going to like.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah,
I guess
sure,
they're
why
trying
not?
it.
If I'm going to Boots and Hearts, it's great, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, I brought up the interior earlier. Let me bring up that photo once again. So, totally redone interior, 11.3-inch touchscreen, 8-inch driver info screen. You're getting Google built in, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, a new off-road pages system. You're getting hitch guidance, hitch view, the full trailering app. I mean, this thing is full of technology, full of luxury. I don't necessarily want to call the current trucks a penalty box, but the interiors feel old today. You get in and it goes plasticky and
it's
not
dated.
that bright. It's dated, and this interior you're looking at here, I think looks really sharp.
It's nice. It's sharp. I like that kind of coast to coast, bed dash design like that. Kind of just one seamless design effect.
Yeah, big horizontal dash. Now, one thing I want to note, because I was looking at the spec sheets, the wheelbase is longer now, 131 inches. That's up from 128. So the new truck, they basically took the same length. The length is up just a hair, about an inch, and they stretched the wheelbase. So they pushed the axles out. So a little bit worse brake over angle, but better for approach and departure. But a slightly bigger truck, and the question is, where's the space? So I can tell you where it's not. In the back seat. The brand new Chevy Colorado has 1 inch less rear seat leg room than the current truck. And this is like going against the trend. You're selling me only a crew cab, but then you're also making your crew cab smaller at the same time? I haven't personally sat in the truck.
But he's already worrying about having to jam himself in there.
Well,
yeah, maybe that's it.
In our recent poll of what viewers want to see more, someone came out and said, more will Steve fit?
Yeah, so I used to fit okay in those trucks, and like I said, I just thought the trend was to continually make those back seats bigger. So 1 inch of less of leg room seems weird to me. That was all caught my eye, that it's rare that we lose leg room these days. It's usually focused on the people and less on the cargo and the stuff. So that's just about it for Colorado. Production for the 2023 truck is going to begin in the first half of 2023. So we're actually not going to see these trucks on the road until next year. It's going to be built at Wentzville, Missouri, and pricing and more details like fuel economy, stuff like that, will be available closer to those dates. Now, one other thing we can kind of let out of the bag, although it's not a secret, is that the brand new GMC Canyon is going to debut tomorrow. So the last time we did a live show was the day before the Chevy reveal, and this live show is the day before the Canyon reveal. So if you come back to the channel tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., we're going to launch our Canyon news video. You'll be able to see the new Canyon, find out about the engine, find out about everything to do with that truck. But for now, again, any other thoughts on the Colorado? Any other big takeaways?
2 things. One, they haven't changed that much, which is good, because they already had a winning formula. So you can take a look at the tin and see that it's very gently massaged. There's nothing radical about this. Brought the inside up to current standards, so you're getting everything you want. But the other thing I've got, and this is my conspiracy theory, is that we're talking about the engines getting dropped. There's some noticeable omissions when it comes to the amount of options available. and simplicity, as Steve was saying, about getting these trucks down the assembly line. So what that says to me is that guys at GM were saying, we need to steal money from this program because we need to build a Maverick competitor. And that's where I think that money got siphoned off to.
Okay.
So if you're looking at anything today, you know, in Colorado, tomorrow in Canyon, and saying, so how come we aren't getting this? Where did that go? That's where I think that money went. Now, this is just crazy, you know, tin pot old man theory, but I know how these guys work. I mean, there's only so much money, and sometimes they got to steal from over here if they want to do something over there. And let's face it, we've heard nothing from GM about what they're planning on doing to compete with Maverick, but you damn well know they're going to. They have to.
Yeah.
All right, this is bread and butter stuff, okay? This is two kids in the playground. One guy's got the red ball and the other guy wants it. They are going to do this. That's my theory.
Yeah, it's a fair one. The only other theory I'd put forward is, of course, and this is happening everywhere, getting ready for electrification. Why spend money on a bunch of powertrains? Why spend money on developing a new transmission when you know things are going to eventually end up with a battery in them? And then if I can even take the conspiracy theory further, usually back seats lose legroom when battery packs are back there. So maybe there's an eventual battery pack that's going to get jammed under there. And everyone has to be forward thinking to EVs right now. It's just, that's what's happening, right?
I think design-wise with the new truck, the first thing that jumped off the page at me, they got rid of that grill. That was one of the most polarizing things with that last-gen truck.
Yeah.
Is people would see just that black plastic kind of ascending pyramid-style grill and go, ugh, that thing's hideous. It's gone. It just disappeared.
Yeah.
They went back to the solid bar with the bow tie. And I was like, it was one of those weird things. I saw it and I went, yeah. Because there was way too much back and forth, I think, on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah, I think that's it on the Colorado, and I think the only other thing there is to say is that it's exciting mid-sized truck year. You know, Colorado, we've already seen the new Ranger, although it's not coming till next year, and now we're waiting with bated breath on Toyota to drop the new Tacoma on us.
Yeah, and it'll be a while before we see that because they're always late. Always late.
Fair. But having all three of those coming, you know, almost at the same time is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's going to make 2023 interesting, really cool for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to give us lots of stuff to bash around in the mud.
Sure. All right, well, let's move on to the next piece of truck news, and that is this little fella right here. You are looking at the Ford Maverick Tremor. Yes, Ford went ahead and brought the Tremor package down to the Maverick. Now, of course, Tremor's all about going off-road, and you might look at the Maverick and think it's not an off-road truck, but you know what? Ford is following the trend of off-road everything, and that's why I think we have this Maverick Tremor. So I'll just hit you guys with a couple of specs here. The Maverick Tremor is going to come with the 2-liter EcoBoost. It's basically building off of the FX4 package. Now, the most important upgrade is the Maverick Tremor gets the twin clutch rear drive unit that was introduced on the Ford Bronco Sport. So it has a locker feature. It's not actually a locker, but because there's an individual clutch driving each one of those rear wheels, it can simulate a locker. It can also split power left and right, send power exactly where you need it. So that's something that the Maverick can't do today, and that should actually be, you know, legitimately helpful when you go off-road. Now, besides that, you're also getting trail control. That's, of course, Ford's off-road cruise control system. Maverick also gets a 1-inch lift when you go for the Tremor. You're getting a heavy-duty transmission cooler, upgraded half shafts to make sure you don't break them. And then, of course, the styling. I mean, you guys have already seen it. It definitely looks a little bit different. So, again, I think the question just has to be raised, you know, does anyone need a Maverick Tremor? Is this a bad idea? Or are we happy that we have small, tiny off-road trucks?
It could be something really cool, without a doubt. I don't necessarily think that the Maverick lends itself to off-roading without sort of significant upgrades. But, you know, then again, Ford, you know, they're a one-trick pony. Yeah. They got trucks. That's what they got.
Yeah.
And
Tremor
so
packages, Tremor stickers.
Yeah, and they got a whole lot of those. So it's not too hard to stick that on there.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
It seems funny because Maverick is a bit of a takeoff from the, I got a big truck. It's like, you know, I got the little truck. The cheaper truck, the one that's a little more economical, but I got a Tremor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, you're saving face, like slapping a racing sticker on a minivan.
I guess.
Like,
hey, at least you get
Flames.
the all-wheel drive system will be better, and you get an
Yeah.
inch lift. There's a little bit there. Although I do think the most telling paragraph in the press release is the final one that tells you that the Tremor off-road package is going to cost $3,400 Canadian, but you can also get the Tremor appearance package for $2,000.
Ah.
So Ford is more than happy to sell you a fake Tremor where you're not going to get that twin
$2,000.
clutch, but you're going to get, the orange accents and the Tremor badging. Exactly.
So for an extra $1,400, you get the lift.
Yeah, basically a lift and the rear drive. And the rear drive unit.
Huh.
But I think that's proving the point, right? Off-road everything these days because it's a style. People want it to look like it's ready to go off-road, and Ford's going to try to capitalize.
I'll save the $2,000 and let your kids play with crayons and put Tremor on the side of the Maverick.
I just want to know if I can get the lift and the upgraded rear end without the stickers. I'll save the $2,000 for stickers.
Yeah, right.
I don't care if anybody knows.
Go the other way. I want the secret.
You want to be the
Tremor.
sleeper.
$1,400 is cheap, relatively speaking.
I want to be the secret
Yeah.
Tremor. Yeah, I mean, it's not an off-roader, but same thing. The numbers we keep hearing are that more people are kayaking and canoeing and biking and hiking than ever before. And I think those are the people who could be coerced at the dealership to, hey, you do this, kind of outdoorsy stuff, you need the off-road truck. And again, whether they need it or not is a different conversation, but they can be coerced.
Yeah, and quite honestly, this is nothing new. The whole idea of individual taste and making your truck your own. I mean, this has been going on for about 25 years now. And the manufacturers have made a pile of money by giving you special stickers that, make you look better than your neighbor Bob.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's fair enough, and is really all what it's all about. So production of the Maverick begins this fall, so we'll see Maverick Tremors by the end of this year, and hopefully we'll be able to get in one and actually crash around in the mud a little bit and
That'd be fun.
see what that thing is all about.
yep.
So yeah, guys, keep your questions coming. I've seen a couple in there. We can try to tackle our one canned question that we got from Liam.
I do have one bit of news
Oh.
that I noticed you didn't pick up on.
Oh, please.
But I saw it this
interrupt
morning.
me.
I saw it this morning in the Detroit Free Press. And it was one of those bad news stories. And it has to do with the Ford Lightning. When they opened,
I saw this. I don't know.
did
if I
you?
missed it. Yep.
Okay, well
Go
when
on.
they opened it up for orders, they took $100 to basically register you and guarantee your place in line. But now they're actually at the point where they're going back to those people and saying, okay, we're now ready for you to pony up some real cash because we're going to build you a truck. At this point, you can bail or you can complete the transaction. Okay, nothing new there. However, what is coming up is that the prices that were originally quoted when those people plunked down their $100 to get in line for the truck have now changed, and they're somewhere between $6,000 and $8,500 more than what they were just 6 months ago?
Yeah, what they initially agreed on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hate to see that. I mean, that just it feels so, I don't know, phony to
Yeah.
me. It's
So-
like you really didn't know what this truck was going to cost 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So you're coming out with like a 15% hike on top of that, or did you see how many people wanted one and just figured, what the hell, let's tack it on there. So I'm feeling kind of bad about that.
Yeah.
It is hard to say. So yeah, like the base level Pro in the U.S. is now $48,000, up from $41,000, and that was before destination and everything. They could come out and say, hey, we have a $40,000 base version, and again, that's an attractive number. So you got to wonder if it wasn't some marketing, but you must be right too that they probably saw the huge demand and thought, hey, why don't we?
Well,
make a
dealers have
couple
been
extra
dealers
bucks?
have been getting a real nad kicking from us here recently about pushing up prices and overcharging people when they come in to buy their new trucks. But honestly, I don't see how this is any different from what Ford's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, my thing is that when you quote somebody a price, that's the price.
Yeah.
And later on, frankly, if you discover that you made a boo-boo, then you eat it. That's what business is in my mind. I don't get how they're going to do this. And
I think that boils down to just what the market will bear. And we're still at a point in this crazy, I dare say the word post-COVID market, that people are scared. They're like, oh, I better just pay it because I don't know if there's going to be another one. I don't know if I'll be able to get another one. What if one doesn't? If they're going to build this one for me, I better just do it.
Maybe.
I think there's a little bit of fear.
Maybe.
We keep seeing it all the time.
Yeah.
People coming in and like,
Maybe.
oh, you got one on the lot, I'll just take that one. But it's
However,
not the one you want, it doesn't matter.
If you're one of those people and you've already got your $100 plunked down and they call you up and they say, by the way, it's $8,000 more, tell them to stuff it. That's what I say. All right? Because there's always going to be trucks. We'll find you another one. That's not right.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, Ford did come out and point out that if you, it doesn't apply to current order holders. So if you've ordered, you're good. It's only people who've extended their reservation. So there was a little bit of a difference there. But you're right.
Yeah, we'll see how that.
Put down $100.
We'll see how that plays out because that sounds like gobbledygook to me.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It just doesn't look good on the Lightning. It doesn't look good on what everybody constantly talks about, these EV trucks, and how are they going to pay themselves off, and how is it going to work with my lifestyle when I have to pay that much money? It just doesn't make sense. And now, actually, what we have to watch is Ford Canada. Because here in Canada, we complained from the get-go that the Maverick's been very expensive. Base Maverick in Canada is like $67,000. Because Ford Canada chose not to give us the Pro, they chose to give us a base model with a bunch of stuff in it already. Point being, I wonder if maybe they saw what was coming and didn't do what the U.S. did. Although that remains to be seen, you know?
Yeah.
It's tough to say. But, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Someone pointed out in the comments, and I remember that too, the same thing happened with Rivian. The initial bank of Rivian reservation and order holders got a certain price. Next model year, they got a price hike, and everyone who had a reservation suddenly said, whoa, a couple $1,000s more. And, you know, for what? And I wonder if it's not just them saying, hey, we can milk this more. Well, although, again, Ford also mentioned, sorry, last thing, cost of raw materials has gone up.
Yeah.
Call it an excuse if you want. It seems true.
A comment from a friend south of the border. He says that the government did pass a $7,000 EV incentive, and all of a sudden Ford jacks their prices $7,000.
Oh, true. I didn't
Hashtag
know that.
free money. I like that one.
Okay, that's sweet.
Yeah, that's a totally fair point too. The automakers did that here in Canada too. They might as well game that credit.
Well, you know what? And just to put a bow on this thing, because here's a conversation that Stephen and I have been having recently that none of the manufacturers will talk about, which is that it costs way less to build an electric truck than a gasoline-powered truck. The motors are cheaper, the installation is cheaper, it's infinitely more simple than an internal combustion engine transmission powertrain setup, and yet nobody's talking about the fact that, they should be able to build these electric trucks cheaper than gasoline trucks.
Yeah.
And yet it seems like we're paying a premium for every EV truck, and they're just smiling at us nicely, and until we figure out the difference, ignorance is bliss, right? They're going to keep charging it to us because we don't know any better. So one more thing to think about.
Yeah, it's totally fair. Batteries are expensive, but it's also goes back to, that's of course what they're going to keep on telling you, right? But we know electric motors shouldn't be that expensive, but we're never going to get the savings passed on to us, right? That's the way it works. Okay, any other truck news that caught your eye? Thanks for bringing that up. You bailed me out. I did read that this morning. I don't know. I didn't put it in our notes.
Well, there's other stuff, but that's the big one. That's just been kind of under my saddle all day.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, now maybe we'll move on to our question from Liam. So Liam sent us an email to hey@trucking.ca. You can email us if you want. And last live show, we got into a little bit of discussion about the Ford 7.3 Godzilla. That's the Ford V8. So Liam said it'd be interesting to hear more about the trend toward releasing these huge V8 engines, or just talking about the return of huge gas V8s in full-size trucks. What is behind this resurgence? Is it connected to diesel engine reliability? What is the cost comparison up front? What is the benefit of a big naturally aspirated engine? Also, there seem to be different philosophies at work. And then he has some opinions here about the different engines, and he just wants some opinions on these sort of big V8s in the HDs. Now, I'll take a stab first, because I was doing some reading on the 7.3 V8 from Ford. And that engine was surprising because it was huge displacement, pushrod V8. So everyone said, it's very much an old school engine. Well, I think when they were designing that's already 2 years ago now, I think. When they were designing it, they looked and said, we need a V8 that's going to go into our HDs and our medium-duty trucks, and we need it to last a decade, if not more, to transition us into what's coming next. Once again, maybe they don't know exactly what's coming next, but they know it's not going to be a big V8. So I think moving to pushrod, smaller engine, simpler, less parts, less reliability issues, I think that's why they went that route, just going, let's just build something simple, easy, we know it's going to last 10 years. This isn't the time to go experimental with some crazy new technology, because if it fails, we don't want to spend time on this. We want to develop it today and not think about it for 10 years. So anyways, I think that's what really pushed them towards going towards kind of big and old school and simple. And now they're sitting there waiting to find out what's the next thing for heavy-duty trucks. Is it just EV? Is it hydrogen? Is it both? Is it, I don't know what it is. Is it diesel? The question about diesel is a good one, too. Somebody emailed us asking about diesel lubricity, and I got that email. I started looking into it. That is a deep topic that I honestly didn't know that much about, so we're still digging into it. Let's put it there.
Cetane ratings and all that other fun stuff.
There's a lot to know there.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
Basically, it's how slippery is the fuel.
Yes.
Yep.
Anyways, I digress though. Big V8s. That's my ramblings on why I think Ford went that way with the 7.
Well, I think you nailed it, and you just also have to realize that Ford is a huge supplier of chassis cabs to, for instance, the RV industry.
RVs, yeah, RVs.
Okay, I mean we're talking about tens of thousands of chassis cabs every year going to the RV industry.
Yes,
Not to
trucks.
mention, ambulances, fire truck conversions, all sorts of stuff that, in a lot of ways, they're also not high mileage vehicles, okay? But they are heavy vehicles. So they require an engine that size. The simplicity helps sell it, also keeps the cost of the chassis down because they're, competing with people like Mercedes and Ram who are offering small diesels, but not at the price, that they can sell that 7.3 for.
That's another
So
fair point.
I think it's just
cheap.
so it's just a smart business decision. It's not like they're going backwards. It just makes sense financially.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny thing, like when they come out with so-called old school technology, you have this gut feeling of, oh, why are we moving backwards? But no, it's just about look at the problem and solve the problem with the best application, right? It doesn't always have to be that we're moving kind of backwards with text. Anyways, yeah, that's sort of what I came up with there. I don't know if we've got anything else in the comments about big V8s. But I will tell you, I love driving that big V8, that 7.3. There is something about a big V8 that just feels good. So yeah, that's kind of it for what we had prepared. I don't know what else you got in the comments. Matt, you've been seeing any good questions out there? I see a couple.
We got a fair few. Do you want to circle all the way back to Colorado first?
Sure, yeah.
Because we got a whole pile on Colorado.
Sure, what have folks been saying?
One of the most recent ones, very simply, was what is in that space on the passenger side of the dash? You mind pulling up that image
There's
again?
a picture there? Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
no problem.
I think it's like just maybe a place to put some stuff, like a little
It's
package tray type
hard to
deal.
see if something goes in there or if it's just for styling. It could honestly just be there.
I think that's just
a
styling.
styling line, maybe like a fake carbon fiber.
I know you
thing.
looked like it was a slot, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I can make it a little bigger. Oh, I don't think it got bigger. Anyways,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I don't think it is. I think it's
It's
just
ju- it's
there
just
for
style.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily functional. Okay, that was just a straightforward. What is that? So
No, yeah, those are the questions that I wish we could actually be with these trucks. Hopefully, we'll get in them.
I'm
soon.
gonna lump a couple together here. A lot of people are saying that they don't like the GM 8-speed. I mean, I personally haven't had any issues with it. I think it's a decent transmission.
They did have problems with it early on when Colorado Canyon launched with a 6-speed, went to an 8-speed, and then had like a redesigned 8-speed, I think within 2 model years.
Okay.
And you may remember this. We had a 2015 GMC Canyon, a long-term tester, and I actually had a couple of these weird clunky issues. And the transmission you'd come into a right-hand corner, you'd lift off the gas, coast, go to accelerate, and you'd just get nothing. It would just be bang, boom, and then it would pick up and go. So it had some issues. I wasn't the only one who experienced those. It's honestly rare for us to experience things like that in press vehicles, usually because we're not in them for very long.
Yeah,
also
that's the
because
problem.
they're brand spanking new, but the brand spanking new trucks were having transmission problems. Now, I would go ahead and say they've probably figured most of it out. I mean, the transmissions have been in those trucks for many more years. There was a major revision. Usually when they do that, it's because they're looking to fix a problem, right? So But I should also mention, why not 10 speeds, GM? You know, like maybe everyone Ford's a 10 speed. Why didn't you go 10 speeds? What else?
Just a lot of chatter on liking the truck. So I mean, thanks for that. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah,
any bit of chat always helps us out.
I think it is a nice looking truck.
A lot of people saying the interior is just knockout, home run, love it.
Nice.
Somebody says it looks like a Mercedes. Okay.
I saw a couple people saying it looked like a Tacoma, and I kind of agree. I think Tacoma brought out the kind of, I don't know, angles maybe, the angular look, and it's a little bit like that as well.
Yeah, and somebody actually asked what you already said. Does this model appear to be set up for a future electrification? With that, the back seat pulling up, we were kind of...
Just makes sense.
Well,
right?
these things don't happen overnight. I mean, we know a bunch of engineers, and when we start having these conversations and say, what are you working on? You know, they'll tell us that they're working on something which is not going to see the light of day for 5 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to be thinking along that lines of, well, as long as we're redesigning this, let's make sure that the battery will fit back there.
What was the top trim that they debuted there with the Colorado? I missed that part. What was the top? Because someone's asking, will we see a GMC Canyon Denali Ultimate? And I'm like, that's pretty fully loaded. I don't know.
Well, we'll hear about that tomorrow.
Yeah, all I can say is come back tomorrow. Sadly, we are bound under embargo. So come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. There is already a Canyon Denali, so it's pretty safe to say there'll be a new one. But will there be a better one? Yeah, you got to come back at 11 a.m. tomorrow and find out.
Yeah, pretty much everything translates from the half tons to the midsize. So
a bunch of people agreed with Dad. That's scary. Don't
Everyone
pump
always
him up.
agrees with Dad's wisdom. Come on. He's a wise old truck man.
sure, I get no respect. No respect at home.
Yeah, I see a guy here, Adam, says he's annoyed with the lack of a crew cab long bed. And I gotta say, I think that there could be some people that pushes them away from the brand, you know? And that was one thing Frontier did that they went out of their way to point out, was that they were offering the crew cab long bed. So, you know, there's some manufacturers that obviously still think these things are important, but everyone has a
Yeah,
different idea.
you got to watch, because when you say long bed to an old guy, I'm thinking 8 foot.
Fair.
You mean
I mean
6'5".
6 foot, or
6'5".
6 or
You're
6'5".
calling a 6'5" a long bed. Okay.
That's what it is on a mid-sized truck these
Okay.
days.
Mr. BoobTube Smith says, smash that thumbs up. Love the channel, guys. Thank you. Just
Yeah.
wanted
Well, give us
Appreciate
some
it.
money. You can do that too. Okay, you can smash whatever you like.
I was
but,
going to try to say it
you know,
nicer than that,
if
but
you
he
wanna,
said
if you wanna hit the old what do you call that? Super thanks or something?
it. Yeah, there's a thanks button, there's a donate button in the chat. I mean, truck videos are getting more expensive constantly because of gas prices. So,
Send us pictures of your girlfriend. You know, I mean, something.
we'll take any dollars you can scrape together. Go clean out the cushions in your truck and see what money you can send us.
the Tremor Maverick, the Top Gun Mall Edition. I like that. That's a good one, Mr. Anthony. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just a lot of chat tonight, guys, and that is appreciated. We don't have a ton of questions.
Well, I see James is asking, has there been any information on new Rams? They've been really quiet, and that's a fair point. They have been quiet. It seems like we've been Ford, Chevy, nothing from Ram. It's because they have that Hurricane coming. That's the one bit of news, right? The Turbo V6, and that's it until we see EV Ram. I don't think we're going to see anything else out of them because, once again, they need to save their dollars.
They have no money.
Put them into EV, right? That's it. They're the only brand still doing Ram Classic. We talked about that in the last live show. They're the only brand milking their old chassis for money rather than going to a new model.
Yeah, which is genius.
It
Absolute genius.
It is.
You know, and it's and the weirdest thing is that they're almost ashamed of it, because I've called up a number of people there and said, you know, we'd like to actually get one and test it, and they're like, well, no, only the new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it is new. It's a new classic, and they're
Exactly.
like, no,
It's model year
no.
22.
We'll keep selling it, but we're only in the back alley.
Yeah.
You got to sort of come here. Here, you got a classic for me? Okay.
It is weird, but
Yeah.
there is something to be said for just like the quiet that's coming out of Stellantis is just, everyone else is doing a lot. So we'll have to wait and see.
Mike says, did the 7.3 replace the 6.8 V10?
Yes.
And I believe so, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
maybe that's another
And all
reason
the
for
RVs
the
as well.
push to one platform.
Yes.
Is they eliminated the 10, kept a simple 8 that's just going to go across the board.
Mm-hmm.
1 liter of gas money. Thank you, Mike.
Nice.
That's really funny. I like that.
Oh.
Appreciate
Okay.
you, Mike.
All right. Great.
That'll get me.
I can get to the bottom of Matt's street.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get me downtown so I can take the bus. It's not even bus fare though. But thanks, Mike. We appreciate you.
Thank you very
man.
much.
Anyway, somebody was asking about Econoline, and yeah, you know what? Those chassis cabs, they don't sell Econoline as a van anymore. The Transit has taken over all the van business, but they've still maintained that front end and the chassis, and they sell that to the livery market and upfitters, and also to the RV industry. So yeah,
You know
and that's the one you find the 7.3 in.
I've seen a bunch of e-transits already in the real world running
Yeah,
around
I've
on
seen a
streets,
couple.
which is cool. And that's another thing we're gonna have to bug Ford about. I'd love to test an electric transit and see what that's all about. And more importantly, and one of these days I'm gonna do it. Every time I see an e-transit, I always want to chase it down and talk to that guy, because it's it's one thing for us to drive it and say here's what it is. It's another thing to talk to the businessman who's using it for his business, because he knows what it costs to operate, and that's what matters.
Oh, we should be able to do that, yeah, because you want to talk to the delivery guy who lives in it, 8-10 hours a day every day.
Exactly.
So if you're in Southern Ontario and you own or know someone that owns and would like to chat with us about it,
Good point. Let's reach out.
Absolutely.
E-Transit. Anybody who's using an e-Transit, particularly if you're in some sort of courier business.
All right, Nathan Givant asks, or he says rather, and this is not really going to answer your question, but it's going to open up an interesting talk. I'm in the market for a new truck under $20,000 Canadian.
Okay, you're trying to make us nuts?
You're nuts.
That's comedy, I think.
That's comedy right there, man. I'll tell you.
It can get you like a Yaris, maybe.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I don't even know what's under 20 anymore.
Mitsubishi Mirage.
Like a
You
Hyundai
cut the back,
Accent
you will
or
just rip the
Elantra.
trunk lid off the Mirage.
Yeah, sadly, you're not getting a new truck for
That ain't happening,
Not
brother.
new. A couple years old, maybe, but not new.
Couple of years old, about 15 years old. Yeah, no, the price of trucks is exactly what we know it is. Nuts.
Damien says he's surprised that Ram hasn't revealed a new TRX after the Raptor R.
No, man. I think
There's
TRX
nothing
is
left.
done.
There's
Yeah.
nothing left in that well.
Yeah.
TRX was a one-shot.
In fact, we know Hellcat's going away. They haven't been shy about talking about the fact that Hellcat is going away probably this year or next year. So TRX is already kind of living on borrowed time. Stellantis still has to buy all those credits because they burn so much fuel. They have to, send all their money to Tesla and buy all those stupid EPA credits. So they have to kill that engine sooner rather than later to stay afloat.
They won't change it. They'll sell as many as they can, and then it'll be gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nathan asked, do you guys have any recommendations for used trucks? So
Yeah.
on the heels of the $20,000 question.
Yeah.
That are the perfect mix of off-roading and in-bed camping, where I would sleep in the bed of the truck. Okay.
Depends on how drunk you get.
I mean,
that's how comfortable you'll be.
there's lots of mattress options, I'm sure, but
My first thought, my go-to is Gladiator. Although even a used Gladiator, I'm not sure is going to be under $20K. They're still so new.
he didn't mention price anymore. So let's just go with what we would rock.
Well, no, under $20K. Used trucks, 4-wheel drive, under $20K.
Oh.
That's the one I see.
Oh, down here. I'm sorry, I was reading this. He
Maybe
asked it
there's
twice.
a
He asked it twice. Okay.
And we're talking about Colorado tonight, and honestly, if you're in that used market, what you want to do is go look for a truck that's been around in production for a long time. And, the last generation, you've got 7 previous years of Colorado now that you can go looking for, and it's a known quantity. So you're getting something pretty decent. And if you can get into one with a 6.5-foot bed, there's quite a few camping type options with the 6.5. And your feet don't hang out. So, yeah, that's where I would head.
Yeah, I would jump right in and just say Tacoma. You might not get in at that $20,000 price range.
Well, that's the problem.
You're going to pay through the nose for it, unless you're willing to go to BC or somewhere to find one that's not rotten and a lot older. But they make every manner of off-road gear for that truck. Every supplier has a Jeep page addendum Tacoma.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's
there's
true.
everything in the world for it if you're in that kind of market.
Yeah.
Fair point. Obviously known for reliability, too. Quick answer here, Ron Nelson. Maverick is front drive biased. So, yeah, I mean, it's a front drive setup, and then it just sends power to the rear.
Hi, Ron.
Hey, Ron. And then Damien, and some people were talking about this last week, but this is just a point he made. The new F-150 Tremor now gets the V8 as its standard engine. So when it first launched, it was EcoBoost only, and people actually cried enough about wanting the Coyote that Ford's done it now. And you've hopefully seen the video. We just did F-150 Tremor versus Tundra TRD Pro. It's here on the channel. Go watch it right after this show. And you know what? That was a great truck, but I will admit that I probably would like it as much, if not more, with the V8. It's a good V8, man.
Yep.
And it just feels like a dying breed, too. So every V8 we drive these days just feels that much more fun, I think.
Tim Deutsch asks, is there any news on the new Nissan Titan? Tim, scroll back about 2 weeks in our channel, and Steven and I delved right into the fact that no, and there will not be any more news after they're not building it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone in Canada. Well, it's been gone 2 years now. And, if they sell the 3 they got left in the States, I think that'll be done. It's finished.
We might get 2023 model year out of it, but that would be last, I'd imagine. Maybe if you love the Titan, and again, we're not saying it's a bad truck. If you hold out for that, maybe they'll bring in some kind of model, different changes at the end of the line to make it more appealing. But
I don't see them doing that. Those guys are struggling.
I more mean like a value model. Throw all the features in and you know what I mean?
Just
Try
to get rid of them.
coerce people.
In
Maybe.
that same vein, Mr. BoobTube Smith says that Nissan needs to step up their game in the truck department.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that they did a pretty good job with Frontier.
They did a good job with what they had.
Because they brought it out relatively cheap, which is impressive in today's market compared to some of the other stuff we're seeing. And I mean, the fact that a lot of the underpinnings carried over, you can extrapolate that it's going to be nearly as reliable as the old truck.
Yeah, that's fair. That's one way to look at it. Again, that's kind of sugarcoating it just because they could have done so much more.
Yes.
The truck had so many kind of flaws that they could have corrected with a couple stretching and pushing here and there. But they couldn't. They had to work with the same frame, same hydraulic steering, et cetera, et cetera. So they did really good with what they had, which I think is what engineers usually do at car companies. If they had an unlimited budget, we get the best trucks in the world.
Yeah, and that is the truth.
It's not real life.
Okay.
We've had engineers comment to us saying, thank you for acknowledging the fact that our accounting overlords don't let us do what we want.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Thomas Paul sent us $6.99.
Thank you, sir.
So that is a whole 3 liters of fuel.
Thank
So
you.
You guys got 4 liters. Can you make it home after this?
We'll take it.
A little drafting, a little coasting. We'll figure it out.
All right.
Did you see Thomas's question there? Because he wants us to talk about something.
Oh, down there. Read my comment above. I did not. Here we go. Please talk about the pathetic midsize engines. All right. Full stop on the crap. It can't be done. SRT Trackhawk is 707 horsepower smaller in every dimension other than Colorado. Any midsize. Okay, I got to really break down the English there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Thomas. I don't totally understand. There's a question in there. I mean, pathetic midsize engines. I guess maybe you're just saying we should have 700 horsepower Colorados,
Which would be hilarious.
Part of me agrees with, of course, because having a ridiculous power plant in those trucks would be fun. But on the flip side, we all know it's not necessary. I mean, if that's what you're saying, then maybe one fun model, but that's obviously not what we need.
Well, and to
great,
that
though.
point, later in September, we're getting the Jeep, the 392.
Yeah, the Wrangler 392.
You want to talk about crazy-ass ridiculous. We drove it briefly last fall. We're going to get it for a week. We're going to go do stupid things with it. And we'll show it to you on the channel. But to that point, I completely agree that in a free market society, if I want to, have a ridiculously oversized engine in something, that's my business. And so it's nice that there are some manufacturers who will give you those options. But in the mid-size segment, I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
It's not enough people would buy it. Maybe you and maybe your buddy, but that's about it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I don't necessarily see that happening either. Well, yeah, we appreciate it though, Thomas. Thanks for the $6, man. I see Ron said square body Chevys are going up in price, and you're right, Ron. So Dad's truck, he's got a 71 C10. That's firmly in the bubble right now, and the bubble is starting to really work its way into the 80s, and with the square bodies, they're getting expensive. They're really, really going up in value. And I mean, again, I think the push towards electric trucks is going to make those trucks more valuable. There's always going to be a big nostalgia bubble, right? Guys who want to get those old things because they're not like that anymore. And so I think that's maybe what's driving it. That's probably what always has driven it, right?
Yeah, well, and it's usually old guys that buy them because either you had one and you're sorry you sold it, or you never had one and wish you did. And then when you get to be 50 and you realize that you got less days ahead of you than behind you, you go to hell with it and you go out and buy one.
Yeah, fair enough. And you can finally afford it.
Yeah, that too.
Damien says that Ram should bring the Ram 700 from Latin America.
Yeah.
And I think this is the one that we keep talking about would be a great Maverick.
Yes, it's the one we've seen as well. They've got the that little truck offshore.
Yeah.
I had one conversation with somebody who should know about these things. He said no comment with a big smile on his face. Figure it out.
And again, like, if you just want to be quick to fight the Maverick, that is the quickest, cheapest way to do it. Bring in what you already have.
Sure.
Chevy too. Chevy has compact trucks in other markets. In Mexico and Brazil, there's also small Chevys. So they could be ready to go. Although, kudos to Ford, they didn't do that. They didn't tap their worldwide market for Maverick. That's a ground-up North American
No, but they did for Ranger.
For Ranger, they did. Fair enough. But not for Maverick. So I'm not sure what that means. I guess what it means is the Maverick has a huge back seat. Because that's what we care about in North America.
Yeah.
Worldwide trucks don't usually cater to the...
No, those guys just hang off the sides.
Yeah.
Tacoma with a turbo 4-cylinder. Nissan purposely stuck with a V6 to appeal to traditional truck buyers. I don't know if they purposely stuck with it.
No, it's a good line. They didn't have money to develop anything.
I think they already,
joke.
they that was on the shelf.
And as far as the Tacoma with the turbo 4, I mean, likely?
Yeah.
More than likely?
Everyone's there now, right? Colorado's there, Ranger's there.
They
It
may
makes
still
total
have a
sense Tacoma
6
will.
option, I imagine, along with the teased EV platform.
I don't
electric
know.
platform.
Of Toyota,
But
of all brands, actually, I'd say would have fewer options than more. Look at
Fair.
Tundra, right? I can see it being turbo 4 only. Maybe more than one output, like Chevy did. That makes some sense. A base and a turbo model, or
Yeah, I think
model?
I think they're going to get away from that Atkinson V6 setup because it so lags in the mid range.
it is not the
And
strongest engine.
and you're going up against all these little turbos, man. They're going to scream, right?
Yeah,
So I think they got to stick with the other guys.
yeah. I think they got to go small turbo for sure. I see Nathan chime back in about his Tacoma, and he has a fair point. He says he's 6 foot plus. What year and trim do you recommend? So the newer trucks, and I hope I'm going to get this right. I think it's 2017 and newer, it might be 18. Toyota specifically went and they made the front seat adjust more because people like me wouldn't shut up about how uncomfortable that truck can be in the driver's seat. So if you do get a newer Tacoma, you've got a seat that adjusts slightly more. Now, frankly, it doesn't help it that much. It's still an awkward position for taller people. Your legs sit up a little bit taller. I've heard from tons of owners that it's no big deal. So I always say the same thing. Please go drive it. Sit in that truck. Spend a couple minutes in it. It might work for you. It might not. But
And as far
be
as-
aware of the Tacoma seating position.
as far as year and trim goes, with your Tacoma selection, you're limiting yourself with the $20,000 budget.
Yeah. But
Like-
TRD off-road. You don't need a Pro, but if you
No.
can find a TRD
Off-road
off-road.
would be fine.
I'm the voice in the wilderness. Chevy Colorado, best seating position in the midsize,
You're right.
decent comfort,
It's comfortable.
and not as expensive as the Toyota.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I say.
All right.
Yeah, we might as well
Fair
keep going on this because Jerry asked, do you think that the Tacoma will have a better seating position in the next gen?
Probably not.
Had one for 20 years but need something more comfy. I don't know, man. If it's from the ground up, you'd hope that they would do something about it. They're
Yeah,
not-
because they got to change like that whole belly pan.
Yeah, and the
setup.
frame rails,
Yeah.
and if it's a ground up design, they hopefully had the chance to do it, whether they did it or not. And again, like we sit here and complain about it, but they sell more than double the next manufacturer when it comes to midsize trucks. So Toyota, when they sit at their head office, they don't think they have a problem.
Yeah,
You
and
know
if
what I'm saying?
yeah, they don't, and
Yeah.
ultimately they don't care because people are
Sell
still
it.
buying them.
Yeah, totally.
When will we get a 6.2 liter in a Colorado?
Oh yes,
think-
please. That'd be amazing.
That would be something.
Certainly would be fun.
Yeah, but that's it. And again, it's just these things are winding down. Like I mentioned about Hellcat, it's going away. So, we can ask for these things, but I think we have to appreciate the ridiculous things we have. We already have a TRX. Let's not forget about the crazy trucks that already exist.
Well, we're winding down here.
Yeah, why don't we quickly touch on sort of what else we have upcoming. Dad is driving a Jeep Wagoneer this week, so we're going to be shooting the Wagoneer. Not the Grand, just the regular Wagoneer.
Yeah.
Which has been interesting, because we had the Grand. That thing's full of screens and luxury. This is more of a, haul your family to soccer SUV, although it's still kind of expensive.
Still kind of big and expensive.
It is, yet it's playing in the same market as Yukon, Tahoe, Expedition. I can see that's who they want to compete with. I just don't know they can do it at the price point that they're at. They're 10 to 15 grand more.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, watch out for our full Wagoneer review. In a couple of weeks, Dad and I are headed to the east coast of Canada to drive the Ford Bronco Raptor and the Ford Bronco Everglades. So watch out for those two videos. Those will be pretty cool.
And we're doing the Everglades in New Brunswick?
In New Brunswick, yeah.
Oh, okay, then.
Yeah, not Florida.
That's the same. That
All right, yeah.
And then nearer to that, next week, we're going to have a really fun weekend for truck lovers.
I forgot about this, too.
Yeah, we may as well tease it now.
Yep.
So we are all headed down to the Woodward Dream Cruise. And by all of us, I mean all of us. And all of our wives. And all of our kids. And I think we would take the dogs if we had to. But
yeah,
it is going to be...
We're 10 people.
We're going to have 10 people, 2 gigantic SUVs, and Dad's old 71 in tow.
Yeah, I'm driving my 71 Chev.
And we're going to go...
Cheyenne. And for those who don't know, because I realize we got people from all over the world watching, but the Woodward Dream Cruise takes place in Detroit and actually runs through several of the smaller towns. Woodward, of course, is famous for being Michigan #1. Car manufacturers forever have been doing testing on Woodward. Engineers used to go out at night and drag race each other. Anyway, about 25 years ago, a local soccer club decided to do a charity event and invite people out. Today, we're going to have 30 to 40,000 classic vehicles cruising all up and down Woodward on that Saturday, and as many as 1 million people watching. So it's we've been there a couple of times.
It's so cool.
It's quite the day for car enthusiasts.
It's only about 4 hours down the road for us. So, and we're going to shoot it while we're there. So watch for it on the channel. We're going to try and get some videos up. Might even do a live stream.
We'll have some videos, obviously, after the event, and we're going to try and go live on Woodward Avenue. We don't know how it's going to work yet. We're going to try.
Yeah.
And then ahead of that, too, I'll put up a post in the community page. Ask us, what do you want to see? I'll put up photos while we're there. Check out our other social media channels. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok, believe it or not.
Yep.
So check out everything, and I'll post all that stuff. If you guys want to see all Fords, all Chevys, I'll throw up everything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the Dream Cruise is so cool.
If you're there...
Yeah, reach
hi.
out. If you live in Detroit in the area, if you're going out to the Dream Cruise, sure, reach out. Absolutely. We'd love to meet some people and say hey. My favorite part about it is that it takes place the same weekend as the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, which is in California. And these are two opposite car events, and I always think about this. Pebble Beach is beautifully manicured lawns and $10 million cars. Woodward is your old junky Chevy driving down the street on a 40-degree Celsius day and it overheating, and you're out there pouring water in and figuring it out.
I did appreciate
it's so cool. It's
my
so real.
My
it's so
very
down
first
to earth.
year at Woodward, and we were cruising along, and it was on the opposite side of the road, oncoming to us, and some guy broke down. And it was like 20 guys descended upon the truck. Yeah. And in the time it took us to go through maybe 2 stoplights, they got it running and he was out of there.
Yeah. Anyways, it's such a real cool event.
Woodward is so cool.
So watch out for that.
We do have one question here from a gentleman who dropped $14, so you got to talk to him.
Yes, we do indeed.
Thomas.
Mr. Paul.
You just saw his first sentence there. He says, I agree with Pop.
Oh, God. Stop paying for that.
I am buying a Rivian midsize with 800 horsepower. Doubt that it is fringe. If they made a gas-powered SRT Durango, I would buy it, but I'm stuck with the Rivian. Why is that fringe?
Well, and to your point, if I understand it correctly, if you're buying a Rivian, you're talking about an electric truck. 800 horsepower in an electric truck is going to be the norm. That's not out there. Okay, 800 horsepower in a gasoline engine, that is the fringe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about 2 different powertrains. And quite honestly, we're talking about a lot of guys are like, I want something that really gets up and goes. That's an electric, okay? We've driven stuff, and when you can do 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, okay, it's phenomenal. It makes an omelet out of your brain, So, but we've got to differentiate. Okay, all electrics will do that in the future. And here's the beauty of an electric: you can turn it down, you can turn it up.
Easy.
You don't have to buy it at 800 horsepower. You could run it at 300 horsepower and turn it up to 8 on the weekend for fun.
True.
So yeah, it's a whole new reality, and the giant gas engines, they're fun, but they're going away. They're absolutely going away.
And frankly, I think a lot of sort of car enthusiasts are a little scared, but as people who just like to go fast, we should actually be excited for this new future because speed is going to be cheaper than ever, straight up. If you like to go fast, you're going to like electric.
Ryan does say the world needs a Hellcat Grand Caravan, though.
That's
one of the platforms they didn't put it in.
No, that is true.
They may still do that because, let's face it, that's their only business model. Shove a Hellcat in everything.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've wound down now. So once again, I'll hit you with the email, hey@trucking.ca. If you want to send us an email, ask us the question. We'll get you on the next live show. Hey, we see Mark. Hope to see you on Woodward. Yeah, we'll be out there, Mark.
We'll be out there.
Everybody,
a car full of screaming kids and us sitting in the back of the truck trying to keep away from them, I guess.
Yeah, we're taking a Cadillac Escalade and an Infiniti QX80. So yeah, big
and
SUV.
My old green and white 71 Cheyenne.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
You'll see me smiling. Look for the reflection off my head.
All right, folks. Everyone have a good night. All right, take care.
Bye now.
Much.